We know just from our drivers, most areas, we could pretty much tag every home in those areas.
CBRM solid waste manager Millie told council on August 5th that they believe their drivers could tag almost every home due to non-compliance with bag limits, referring presumably to former county collection zones. The meeting had the objective for solid waste to double their hiring estimates from 8 to 16 for trash collection, but focused heavily on pointing fingers at residents being non-compliant with bag limits and essentially suggesting that contractors were not rejecting or tagging when there were issues. I want to briefly showcase what the primary problem was for failures in garbage collection in their memo to the council prior to the meeting. Just before I do so, let me contribute to reminders about bag limits. Mr. Millie will tell us how many we can put out.
That's because the allowance is 5. 1 black, 4 clear. I know you guys are all aware of that. That is not happening in our rural areas.
Lack of staffing depth, aka we told you 8, now we need 16. And the meeting redirected councilors' focus heavily to compliance. The tone became heavily insinuative that it was a leading cause for service failures. Granted, the memo also refers to resident confusion regarding collection requirements and new collection practices as factors in service quality issues.
Following those conversations, I got a lot of calls as well about this quote-unquote new bylaw, where you can have 1 black bag and 4 clear bags. That new bylaw is over 20 years old. That was, I think, revisited in 2003 for the last time. That's not new. We're hearing about the regulations and the mandates from government that we have to reduce waste, reduce waste, reduce waste. It's not going to get more lenient. It's only going to get more strict. We're all well aware of that. By taking control in-house, we have a better opportunity to take a handle on that.
Councillor Erlene McMullen seems shocked that some residents calling her felt that bag restrictions were new despite being in place for decades. However, she believes that taking the service in-house should create better controls. This is an area where her argument isn't very strong, as we'll see. But first, Millie believes councillors need to play a role in making sure residents understand.
We try to educate them if they're upset about a miscollection. But we also require the help of council to get that message out there to the residents as well.
Councillor Kim Shepherd-Campbell senses some blame shifting to contractors. So she just asks directly if contractors were non-compliant with their contract, which basically just means, were they collecting too many black bags or too many bags overall?
And the other thing is understand our operation. We don't collect like the contractors collected. We collect the black bags, and the green bins, and then we also go back to do the blue bags. We don't mix our garbage. We're not allowed to mix our garbage under regulations. And again, that's what we're governed by. That's what we receive our funding through Divert Nova Scotia for. So to say our operation is skewed, maybe it's just that we're turning our operation around to the way that it always should have been, and the way that it has been in our bylaw for the past 2 decades that we weren't following. And is that the fault of a contractor? No, not necessarily. It could have been the fault of the direction that they were given. We don't know that.
They don't know it, but it seems likely they have enough internal documentation to find out the answer.
We're going around here saying that the contractors weren't compliant. Would that not be us to put that in their contract, that that is what they have to do? Was that in their contract?
So through you, Mayor, to Councillor Campbell. Yes, it would be in the contract. However, it's at the level of management with CBRM to enforce that.
So are we saying that they broke their contract?
I'm not saying that at all.
No. And maybe
I
these
don't
are
know.
discussions we should have in camera if we're talking about these contracts.
So just in the fairness of the contractor, I don't know what the direction would have been to them. When John and I came into solid waste, we were at the very end of that 5-year contract. And previous to us taking it over in its entirety, we would have not known that.
As you saw, Millie wouldn't commit to declaring contractors in violation, suggesting that past communications between the CBRM and contractors were not something he was privy to. But this takes us back to Earlene's suggestion that in-house employees would be better at compliance. To that I say, if the managers are not on the trucks themselves, how would they know otherwise? But there is an answer to that question.
However, that being said, we had no real data or no real idea on the contracted routes, how they were collected, the manner they were collected in. So now that we had 3 to 4 months doing that, it gives us real-time data.
This is important. Millie is essentially telling council that they took the service in-house without understanding the routes, aka lacking data. This functions as a key reason why back in October 2025, when Phelan suggested 8 employees were all that was required, they should have declared this was incredibly uncertain. How do you decide staffing if you lack data and insight about the job itself? But there is some other key data. Every dump load brought to waste management for every truck is weighed, and it has been for a long time. Thus, calculating the amount of waste collected by contractors is essentially a simple math problem. As long as they have an accurate number of actual homes serviced in the former county zones, you tally up all the weight collected and you divide by the number of homes. If there is a large discrepancy between the amount collected per home there versus what CBRM collectors were scaling, then you can pinpoint an issue and act on it. If Millie suggests that almost every home could be tagged, and the tone is that contractors were just taking it, then it would show up in the data at the scales. And this isn't obscure data. It is key data that relates directly to their mandate and upcoming deadlines for waste management like this one.
So right now, the federal government is trying to reduce by 2030 to 300 kilograms per household. Right now, the CBRM and the province of Nova Scotia are running at about 405 kilograms per household.
They have to reduce waste collection by about 26% and over 100 kilograms per year for every home in the CBRM. The data at those scales cannot possibly be something they aren't paying attention to, and it would be the key tool in monitoring whether or not operators are in compliance, aka imposing bag limits, tagging, and leaving bags that are over the limits set.
And whether we go with a contracted route or we stay with our in-house forces, those rules will still be in place. So we will not allow anyone, our own forces or contractors, to collect out of compliance.
The real problem was that for many homes who were compliant, collection was delayed or not completed at all. At one point, entire streets were missed fully or reportedly on just one side. The volume of waste material to be expected was not a surprise. The CBRM has all that data from the scales, and contractors are provided with reports on their collections. They have to make sure they have enough trucks with enough capacity and enough workers to have a full crew out each day who can keep the pace. By underestimating this back in October 2025, Council rubber-stamped the request to take things in-house after seeing a financial outlook that suggested the CBRM could have made modest savings versus contractors in 2024. I'm not sure the 16 employees will completely solve the problem, since they are not adding a single new truck for former county collection zones, and that's a key bottleneck. However, if they redid their estimates from October 2025 again, based on the current staffing contingent, overtime, and assistance from contractors when they are behind, they would not have shown that they could do it cheaper than contractors back in 2024, the data they used to sell the move initially. They claim now that they can find savings in the department, but I'll clarify in an upcoming video that there is a difference between counting on new revenue from, say, circular materials and that of cutting costs. Very different things. However, you can almost certainly count on them moving forward with reinstating pay-to-dump fees on residents and most likely canceling call to haul, a service which seems to send 2 to 3 trucks or heavy equipment to pick up one item and relies on contractors that don't have trucks that can compact their loads, thus greatly reducing efficiency and why most sane people have probably given up on scheduling something that can't happen for months in the future.